Morning again, everyone, on a Saturday, February 28, 2026, 710 KNUS, and we find ourselves now in another war. The U.S. and Israel have struck Iran. Governments around the world are stressing new risks of the world, new risks of a new war in the Middle East. The attack started this morning by U.S. and Israel on Iran. The Iranians are now retaliating. 710 KNUS Weather Center weather, 70 the high, 65 on Sunday and 67 on Monday. It's really interesting how today worked out, and if you want to bring him up, please do. We were going to go back to David Smith's original book when we first met on Audie Murphy. It's a really wonderful book, and then this happened, and I thought to myself, no one better to bring on the air. Welcome back to 710 KNUS. David Smith,
hey,
Baylor
Peter.
University. Good morning, Professor. Thank you.
Good morning. It's great to be with you again, and there's always something to talk about.
Boy, I don't even know where to begin except to turn over to you and say your thoughts. And my one question is, what's the war aim? And the other one is, how does it end?
Well, generally speaking, the war aim will be regional stability. And successive administrations have looked at Iran and said, this is the primary source of instability in the region. And the way it treats its people, the way it treats its neighbors, those are sort of byproducts of the U.S. seeing Iran as an agent of instability. And the thought is that if you take out Iran, if you do regime change, that you're likely to have a more stable region generally, and it's a really important economic region. So the long-term end goal is simply stability, I think. But there are a whole bunch of things between now and then that are going to be episodically destabilizing.
An example or examples.
The Strait of Hormuz being closed to oil shipments. 20% of the world's oil comes through the Strait of Hormuz, and that's going to be potentially destabilizing, when the oil markets open again on Monday. I would imagine oil prices will go up the next time you go to the gas station. I got to go fill up today, and I bet it'll be ticked up a dime or two.
Yeah.
One of the things I was thinking about this in the last hour before I talked to you, one of the things that we're seeing, that we have seen a lot of in Ukraine, is how resilient societies really are against missile and drone attacks. So I'm not sure how a sustained air campaign, how effective a sustained air campaign will be against Iranian assets. And you see Iran is striking back at Bahrain and Qatar and places like that. And I haven't seen any substantive damage in those places. So we'll have to see how, at least on the ground tactically, this plays out.
I just finished that new book, King of Kings, about the life and times of the Shah. And it's excellent. The same guy, he did the book with Lawrence in Arabia, not Lawrence in Arabia, but with Lawrence. And he's really, really well structured and well put together. If you see it, grab it. But the relationships the United States has with Iran, they really weren't existing at all until World War II.
Right. Yeah.
And you have talked about this when the Big Three, as they were called, 43, I think they went to Tehran. And
they met in Tehran. Yeah.
And they overthrew the Shah's father, right?
I believe so. And then, the United States endorsed the Shah that we know of as the Shah of Iran, who was overturned in 1979 because of the Cold War, right? I mean, the United States policy in a place like Iran for 45 years was completely dictated by the Cold War and competition with the Soviets. So we wound up being drawn into this area and backing factions within these states because of the backdrop of the Cold War after 1945, like you said.
And the case that they make is things change when after the Second World War, when the multinational oil companies follow British Petroleum, and they see what's happened there, and then there is an election, and the Shah is overthrown.
Yeah, the British were in there first, right?
Yes,
British
yes,
Petroleum
yes.
had a big footprint. And then after World War II, the United States companies think we want in on this too. So over the top of the Cold War competition and, the world divided into these hostile power blocks, you have multinational corporations wanting a piece of the economic pie, and they're willing to influence national policy to get it.
And they were willing to go get the Shah, bring him back, MI6 and the CIA and the oil companies.
Depose the Shah, put the Shah back in. Depose the Shah, put the Shah back in.
When I finished this, and the book is entitled King of Kings, the Shah is he's a chess piece. That's all he is.
Yeah, and not even a real big one. He's like a knight or a rook or something.
And he wanted to meet FDR. And he was 19 years old. And
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, and that they had pushed his father out. His father was a pretty interesting character. He was he was a Cossack. He was in Persia's Cossack brigade.
Is that right?
His name was Risa Khan. He was a very brave guy. Wow. And he declared himself Shah and took the name Risa Pahlavi.
Uh-huh.
And they in 1921. And
I didn't realize it went back that far.
Yeah, and so, and then it was in 1936 where Iran withdraws its ambassador in Washington for nearly a year after they publicized an article criticizing the Shah in the New York Daily Herald, which I thought was pretty cool. And
wow.
Yeah, and then he was pro-German. Risa Shah was, and so he was forced to abdicate in 41, and then so Stalin, Roosevelt, and Winston Churchill go to Tehran, and Adolf Hitler was going to try and kill him. Right? They were trying to kill those guys.
Yeah, you've got one up on me on that.
But there was an attempt. They were going to kill him, and then this 19-year-old Shah came to him, and Roosevelt didn't even want to talk to him, and so he gave him like 15 minutes, and it's good to see you. But then in 49, this was the part that really jumped off of me in this book, the Assembly of Iran, and by the way, the Shah's father named Persia Iran, and it meant. It meant the land of the Aryans.
Yeah,
that's what he called it, the land of the Aryans, Iran. And so the Iranian Declaration, and it was Stalin and Churchill and FDR, and then there's this post-war independence, the boundaries of Iran. In 1949, the Constituent Assembly of Iran gave the Shah the power to dissolve his own parliament and to become absolute.
Wow. That's a blank check.
Yes, absolutely. And then comes the outbreak of World War II, and the U.S. has no policies towards Iran, and then the Cold War begins, and like you just said, now we got policy.
Yeah. Exactly, and a really simplistic one too. If you're their friend, you're our enemy. If you're our friend, you're their enemy. It makes for very, what would you say, simplistic policy making, and I think you've seen echoes of that in the region since then.
Yeah, I mean you're absolutely right. It's black or white.
Yeah, the U.S. policy in the Middle East has been very, very simplistic. And not very subtle over the past 50 years or so.
Is it pro-Israel all the time, or pro-oil, or what exactly?
It's certainly both of those things, right? It's certainly both pro-Israel and pro-oil. And I remember, and you remember this too, right? Back in 1990, 1991, when the buildup of the Gulf War happened, when Iraq invaded Kuwait, there were people, chanting "No blood for oil" here, Texas and wherever. So oil has always been a driver. Although, as the United States gets less of its oil from the Persian Gulf, it's less of an immediate concern for our economy, but the rest of the world gets a lot, and every international oil company makes bank in the Persian Gulf.
Our guest, the one and only David Smith. And now in 51, the Iranians nationalized the oil. And in essence, they seized the assets of Anglo-Iranian oil, and Mossadegh was elected prime minister by the Parliament of Iran. And they, what did they do? They got rid of the Shah. He's gone again.
What has really surprised me is that the son of the deposed Shah from '79 is still in play. He's like in London,
Baby Shah,
showing up at these protests in favor of this action. I thought, geez, Louise, we're just moving Shahs in and out, but they're the same family for
absolutely.
Decades.
He looks like his father, except he's lost his hair. He does. He looks like
it happens to the best of us.
Yeah, indeed. But I guess the original. I mean, they spent a lot of time in this book about Reza Pahlavi, the former Shah's or the dead Shah's father. He must have been something. He must have really. He was the wind and the lion kind of a guy. But
wow.
Yeah,
you're making me want to add that book to my stack.
Yeah, it's brand new. It's a bestseller, and I'm trying to get the guy on the show. But then Iran briefly, apparently, explored some feelers with the Soviet Union, and and that's what brought down the thunder on them. But these guys, they write these critiques, and they go, well, first of all, the Soviets were atheists. They were, and the Iranians were not, and so they were all misreading everybody. But there it was.
Yeah,
wow.
Most of those mid-level powers, like Iran, like Egypt, like Syria, in the days of the Cold War, they understood that they could play America and the Soviet Union off against each other.
Absolutely.
And they did that to their benefit. And the United States and the Soviet Union, because of the way they saw the world's competition, they sort of played right into that and went all out for regimes that would support them or oppose the enemy. And we ended up supporting some pretty nasty people.
There was something that was, I've read, and there was Reagan policy becomes the other side of Brezhnev policy, that the Brezhnev policy was, we'll go anywhere, anytime, any place, anywhere to back up a regime that has leftist tendencies. And on the other side of that coin, we went anywhere, any place, anytime, anywhere, and backed up regimes as bad as they were, whether it's the Ziem brothers or fill in the blank, as long as they professed anti-communism.
Right, South America, Central America.
Oh man, and that holds up, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, it does. And we're out of the Cold War, sort of, but there's still many episodes of rather simplistic diplomacy that countries pursue.
So now what? And by the way, one of my really dear friends who's retired retired Major General, I'm sorry, I promoted him. He went to he went to the Air Force Academy with the Baby Shah. Baby Shah went to the Air Force Academy. And I think, didn't one of the what was the family in Nicaragua that got deposed by the Sandinistas, and they all sent come on. They're
oh gosh. I can't think of it.
They all went to the School of the Americas, or what was Samosas, the Samosas.
No, yeah, the Samosas.
Yeah, the School of the Americas. They all went there, and it's pretty good. So now.
Yeah, where now what? Where do we go from this?
No, the words out of my mouth. So now what?
Yeah, it seems as though the broadest kind of strategy that you can possibly sort of at least imply is that we're hoping for a public uprising, and that a public uprising will satisfy our Well, it will prevent us from having boots on the ground. We can do this by air power that will weaken the regime, and then there can be a public uprising and the regime will fall. I think that seems to be the assumption in play.
When has that happened?
When has that happened in the past?
Yes.
If you give me a few hours, I could probably come up with an example.
I mean, seriously. I mean, when has that happened?
It hasn't. Nothing's come into mind quickly, right? Nothing's come into mind in which an outside force can cripple a sitting regime, and then the public can rise up and overthrow it. But that's sort of the hope here, I believe.
When the first president to really cool relations with the Shah was Gerald Ford. I didn't know that either until I read the book. I
didn't know that.
And Nixon, unlike Nixon, Gerald Ford lacked a close personal relationship with the Shah. And Nixon and the Shah apparently, I think they're very much the same kind of guys, except Nixon's a lot smarter. But the negotiations and all the stuff that started to come apart, by the time it gets to Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
Do you remember all of that when they wouldn't let the Shah in?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But then they did let him in for cancer treatment, right?
Exactly,
and
yes.
That's how the Islamic Republic sort of cast America as an enemy, because it was assisting the Shah. That's
right. The United States policy towards Iran under Carter, as the Shah regime crumbled, according to a number of historians, the Carter administration followed no clear policy on Iran, so the Shah didn't know what to do.
Right, exactly. And
at the same time, State Department said the revolution in Iran was unstoppable, and the Shah, after 1978, the American Treasury Secretary went to see the Shah, and he said the Shah was in an emotional collapse. But what happened out of all of that was that the hostage crisis. We both remember that. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The Shah's regime was, if I'm remembering correctly, was pretty repressive.
Yes.
And the Ayatollah was in exile, and came back
Paris,
Yeah, exactly. And he basically said that the Islamic revolution can restore dignity and hope to the people and oust this foreign-backed tyrant.
They always thought he was a fraud.
That's how they pitch it to the people.
Yeah.
But then you wind up with an Islamic republic that's not a republic at all and is tyrannical as anything else.
What was the lesson of the Soviet Revolution? They were worse. They were. No, seriously, you think about it. As bad as the Romanovs were, the Leninists were worse.
Yeah, and more efficient, terribly enough.
Much more efficient. I'm going to put you on hold, Doctor, and come back on the other side real quick. 710 KNUS Denver's Talk Station. I'm hogging the guests. Lines are open, 303-696-1971. Professor David Smith from Baylor University is with us, 303-696-1971. Saturday morning, February 28, 2026, 70 the high, 65 on Sunday, Monday, 67 degrees. We ready to go? All right. Turn around, come back with Professor Smith right after this.
Your KNUS forecast for the Denver metro area calls for this final day of February to be mild, well above average temperatures by about 20 degrees, not record warmth, but we will see highs approaching 70 degrees. Increasing clouds just near 40 tonight. Average high and low this time of the year should be near 50 in the low 20s. Kicking off March with mild conditions, but increasing precipitation chances, high 60s, lows mid to upper 30s. I'm meteorologist Mark Huer in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Saturday morning, everyone, February 28, 2026. Good old 710 KNUS. The U.S. and Israel have attacked Iran. The retaliations are taking place as we speak. The risks of a new war in the Middle East. 710 KNUS Denver's talk station. Thanks for being here. 70 will be the high today. We'll go back to the phones in a second. The snow is flying and the ski resorts are finally working. And if you're still rocking gear from a decade ago, you're missing out. It's time to upgrade, and there's only one place to go. It's Larson Ski and Sport. John Marriott, Jack, Paul, all the guys there, they have the newest inventory, and trust me, the service is absolutely incredible. They have everything you need, from top-tier performance skis, snowboards, to the best jackets and apparel. We're talking name brands like K2, Rosengdahl, Nordica. If you're a downhill demon or a powder hound, I like that. Larson's will fit you perfectly. Forget the big box stores. Larson's staff offers expertise that you need, incredible value. Stop in today. Ask for John, Paul, Jack. Tell them Peter Boyles sent you. You find them, big wooden box store, south of I-70 on Kipling. So you're westbound on I-70, get off on the Kipling exit, come down the ramp, make a left. There's a tunnel underneath I-70. Go through the tunnel, out the other side, look to your right, look to the west, and you'll see a big wooden box store. Larson Ski and Sport, 7 days a week, south of I-70 on Kipling. Larson Ski and Sport. Visit Larson Sport, Larson Sport.com. Call 303-423-0654, 303-423-0654, LarsonSport.com. Our guest, the one and only, from Baylor University, David Smith. Phones are lighting up. You know what I thought, and I forgot about, and during the break, Iran-Contra. There's another step along the way.
Yeah, like selling. Gosh, I can't even remember right now. You know, Fawn Hall and Oliver North.
Yes.
And funneling arms to the Contras that were funded by the Iranians.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a story.
Remember Iran-Contra? And they were selling guns. Well, they were selling arms to Iran in an attempt to improve relationships and then get their influence in the release of the hostages held in Lebanon. And there's
that's right, the Lebanon. Yeah.
Oliver North.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
What a mess.
Yes. And I was saying the other day that I was asked once to emcee a debate between Oliver North and Jesse Jackson. And
oh, wow.
That was really quite the night. And we had dinner. I had my daughter with me. We had dinner with Oliver North and then met Jesse Jackson. And I was going to look it up, and then I got sidebarred into this. But when the drug story came out, it was in November of '86. And remember, Ronald Reagan said, and I'm a Reagan, I like Reagan, so be careful here, Peter. But the Reagan administration, they were selling in the mid '80s. They were selling guns or something to Iran. What were they selling, Doc? Because I don't remember. I know it was weapons, and they later investigations in Congress, and they had an independent counsel, and it was very hard for me to believe that a Marine lieutenant colonel was doing this whole thing. Don't you think that the other guys were in on it? Do we lose him? Doctor, you still there? We lost you, I think.
Peter.
Yeah.
Am I back?
Yeah, I guess so. Something happened. Anyhow.
Yeah, it sounded like I was hearing a live news conference or something.
Ooh.
Some other feed slipped in there.
That's when I always say, we were just kidding, J. Edgar. Finish up with what I forgot about the Iran-Contra affair.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the Iran-Contra affair influenced the overall policy vis-a-vis Iran. It doesn't seem to have bought the U.S. any influence, although, I mean, it may have resulted in some hostages being freed in the mid-'80s from Lebanon, but it certainly didn't put the United States and the Islamic Republic on any sort of firmer footing. And I think in part that's because of the U.S.'s pro-Israel position is going to prevent it from ever having a really pro-Iranian position.
Absolutely. But it was interesting. The money from the arms sales had been funneled to the Contras. Mm-hmm. And that was a major political scandal for Ronald Reagan.
Right. And we supported the Contras because they were anti-communist, or at least they claimed to be.
The Somozas. Yeah. Not Somoza, in Nicaragua, the Sandinistas.
Right. Yeah. And it's just it's sort of short-sighted, I think you'd probably say, that you're buying the hope of small incremental advances at the cost of sustainable and coherent policy. But that's how humans make policy.
That's what we do. Let's go to the phones.
Yeah.
We go to Don. Don, you're on 710 KNUS. Peter Boyles. Our guest is David Smith.
What a fantastic guest this morning, Peter.
It's the best. Excuse my voice.
He's one of the top 5 you have ever had on all the years I've been listening to you. Really enjoyed listening to your work, David. You're a very bright, intelligent man.
No, I
would tell you,
that.
Well, the truth is the truth, brother. I'm 100% in favor of what we're doing in Israel, and it's going to last a little while, but hopefully this has been planned out for long enough time that we can finally put an end to this insanity that has been the Ayatollah. Being 75 years old, I've lived through all this stuff you guys are talking about. So that's pretty much all I wanted to say is put me down for a yes on this. I think it's very important.
The questions I think that are significant is how does it end and what does it look like when it ends?
Yeah. Yeah.
Peter, that's a great question because it may end really good or it could really end like crap. I don't know.
No, that's exactly right.
That's too far down the line. There's just no picking because you'd think you got everything. I mean, look how Putin thought he was going to roll over in the Ukraine. Now, what's it been, 5 years?
There you go.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know. I
got to run. Okay. Guys.
All right, thanks.
Got somebody waiting here for me. Thanks, David.
Thank you.
Thank you, Don. You never know how one of these things is going to end because, like his idea of, his example of Putin had no idea he was going to be tied down in Ukraine for 4+ years. So it's hard to predict how these big military operations will end.
How do you see Putin in all of this?
How do I see Putin in all of this?
Yeah, right now.
Well, it's certainly he's certainly more and more isolated because you know that Russia was getting a lot of its drone technology from Iran, and if Iran goes down, or if Iran has to use all of its weapons to fight off the United States, Putin's going to lose one of his major suppliers. And the world is watching the ineffectiveness of Iranian hardware respond to this, and the world is going to see that Iranian hardware is not really going to make any sort of difference on the ground in the Ukraine.
So, I mean, I'm thinking, what is the end game, and do you put a timer on it?
Well, I think the assumption is, and with a policy and a strategy, you always sort of have to try to guess what the assumptions are. I think the assumptions are if the United States applies enough air power, which is all we've been seeing so far, that it will damage the regime fundamentally so that it removes the danger of repression against the public. That if the United States can basically take out the Republican Guard, right, or whatever the Iranian version of the Republican Guard is, that it will be safer and less dangerous for a massive public uprising again, because you saw how that last one you saw how that last public uprising ended, and it's because of the strength of the regime and the strength of the assets that killed all those tens of thousands of people. But the assumption for the part of the Americans is that we're going to damage the regime so much they can't respond to a public outcry in the same way, and the public will carry out the public will be our boots on the ground.
Go to the phones. Evan, you're on the radio show. Professor David Smith is with us. Good morning.
Yes. Is this Peter?
It is.
Peter, this is Evan in Denver. Once again, a great show and a kind of scary morning. I seem to recollect that one of the Shahs was actually married to a very famous, very pretty American woman, and I can't remember her name. The word Kohinoor comes up or something like that.
That you're thinking of Monaco. Princess Grace Kelly married the
Prince Rainier of Monaco.
Rainier.
Yeah.
I thought one of the Shahs married an American woman.
The Shah was married twice. Beautiful, beautiful women both times. But I'm sorry about my throat this morning. I don't know what's going on. But the first woman that he was married to could not have a male heir, and so he got rid of her, and he got the new, who's by the way still alive. She shows up in the book. She lives. Wow. It's really interesting. The Shah had 4 children. 2 of them were suicides.
Ooh.
And she's still alive. I'm trying to think of her name. I just read it, which I can't. But she lives outside of Washington, D.C., and at one time lived palatially, and now has like 1 or 2, quote, help. And she still has her diamonds, but she doesn't have a bunch of protection because she doesn't feel that she needs it anymore. But the oldest son, Riva, but it's Risa, I think. He's in Europe, and he's angling to go back to the throne.
Wow, that's some determination over the long haul, that's for sure.
Yeah, but she's alive. I think she's like 96 or something, and she married him. She fled with the Shah. When the Shah knew it was time to go, she went.
Interesting.
Beautiful woman.
Right back to male succession for the monarchy.
Oh, indeed.
Yeah, the Henry VIII story.
That's exactly right. The first woman, I got both of their names like right in the top of my noggin here, but the first woman could not give the Shah an heir. And the Shah was a notorious playboy. Even when he was married, and his right-hand man would go and find beautiful women for him. He liked
good grief.
No, he liked stewardesses, and he liked he lived a life.
Yeah, it's like Tom Paine told us that hereditary monarchies make no sense.
They don't.
But we continue as a species to chase them down.
Yeah, so they used to talk about the illegitimate bastard son of the Dauphin of France. Remember, remember those guys?
That's right.
There would be some pretender, or
absolutely, yeah.
And they would be.
And Thomas Paine said, "This is no way to create a good government."
No. and
we need to fly copies of Thomas Paine into Iran.
And why our revolution was so much different than the French?
Exactly.
When the French decided, boy, it was time. That was a bad revolution. But the Romanovs were the same way. They don't. Is it fair to say, Professor, they just don't get it?
They, as in monarchs, tyrants, absolutists.
The Shah,
they just don't get it.
The Shah didn't get it.
No, they don't. And I think, I look at all the absolute monarchs and the tyrants and the wannabe tyrants around the world and think, gosh, I don't understand it. I don't get it. They don't get it.
No, they don't. When
power corrupts.
Yeah, when they came for Nicky Romanoff, he didn't get it. He didn't understand how this was possible.
What? They're mad at me? How can they be mad at me?
Me? The Shah? when they angled at the Shah. Aaron, thanks for your call, Evan. Thank you very much. Let's go to Jim. Jim in Littleton. You're with Peter Boyles and David Smith. Good morning. Thank you.
Hey, Jim.
Good morning, gentlemen. My question, my point is what was the bombing? What was it, in June that we did with I thought Trump said we did mission accomplished, and took out all their nuclear capability at that time. Is now saying that wasn't the case?
Right. We were told that strike back in June took out their nuclear program entirely, but it clearly must not have.
I'm more leaning towards they want to with what's going, the unrest that's going on, that they're thinking that this may be the I guess the spark that set the fire to the whole regime being overthrown by the people. Is that maybe possibly what's going on?
I think that's it. I think they're hoping that their decapitating the regime can enable the public to overthrow it.
Yeah,
that was Operation Midnight Hammer.
Yeah.
Right. And this operation I read this morning is called Epic Fury, in case you're keeping score at home.
Yeah, I got to take a break.
Bomb?
Jim, I can put you both on. I'm going to put David on hold and put you on hold, and we'll do the quick turnaround. It's Saturday, February 28, 2026. I'm Peter Boyles. Professor David Smith from Baylor is with us. The U.S. and Israel have struck Iran. Stay here. Good morning, everyone. It is a Saturday, February 28th. Excuse my voice. I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, woof, your voice is gone. Now it's back. 2026, 70 will be the high, 65 on Sunday, Monday, 67 degrees. Phone numbers 303-696-1971. From Baylor University, Professor David Smith is our guest. And talk about your health for a couple of minutes. A great smile. Now, lots of folks put off the dentist because they're worried about the bill or the drill, and it's time to change how you think about the dentist, and it starts with my guys at Twin Aspen Dental Center, Doctors Richter, Snyder, and Rich, using the latest technology to make things easy for you. On the level, these guys are the best. Same-day crowns, no temporary crown that comes off on Friday night, no second appointments, they do it right. So whether you need dentures or implants, or you're finally ready to straighten things out with Invisalign, the team is Twin Aspen. It treats you like a neighbor, not a number. They accept most insurance. They have an in-house membership plan. It's a game changer for families looking to save on preventive care. Stop putting it off and take that first step towards a better smile and better health. Visit them online, twinaspendentalcenter.com. It's easy to navigate. You can see everything that they offer. twinaspendentalcenter.com, 303-841-7466, 841-7466. Twin Aspen Dental Center. Make your smile come back, and you'll thank them. 710 KNUS. Our guest is Professor David Smith. We'll go to Jim in Littleton, who waited. Jim, if you have anything else to ask or say, it's your turn.
Well, I would just say that I'm thinking that part of it is maybe to overthrow the regime from the people that are being arrested, but the other part is I think Israel's benefiting from this greatly. And the last great opposition in the Middle East is Iran, and if they topple that government, then total hegemony and military dominance goes to Israel now.
All right, Professor?
Yeah. I mean, it's all one sort of complicated story, from the strikes against their nuclear program in June to the threat that Israel has long felt from Iran and from the government in Iran. The assumption is that you change the regime in Iran, you're going to bring stability to the region. And that's what we're seeing attempted.
One of the questions I have as an amateur historian talking to a pro, with Jim on the line and anybody else, who started this?
Wow. How broad do you want to make your focus, right? How much do you want to zoom out?
I don't care. I mean, wherever you want to go.
The Cold War started it. The ambitions of powerful people started it. The Islamic Republic started it. The series of wars that Israel fought against its neighbors started it. It's hard to say there's one thing that started it, in the same way that it's hard to say that there's one thing that made you who you are.
Interesting, because Jim, the caller.
I would say, well, look where the Shah came from, and I think you can look where that started, and he came from France. I mean, the Ayatollah, he was living in France at the time.
But he went into exile. After
he didn't go anywhere else in the Middle East, though. He went to France.
Yeah, after Mossadegh. Well, remember, the French have tentacles. The French were great colonialists, and if you think about in Vietnam or in Algeria or other places, the indigenous people talked about home, and they meant Paris. So when the Shah, when Ayatollah flees, and that was after Mossadegh was overthrown, the Shah flees. He's a young man, not the Shah, the Ayatollah. He's a young man. He goes to Paris, and he's in exile. But do you ever see the thing where they sent the tapes in? Do you see all that, Professor, where they sent tapes in with Iranian truckers and the Iranians?
Wow, no.
They basically thought that the Shah was a fraud. They really did. Mm-hmm. And the Ayatollah they were taking all these 8-track tapes, and he was given sermons and sending them in with truckers. and the pot was right. I mean, remember the Iranian students that stood in Washington D.C. with bags on their heads and they
Vaguely, yeah.
They were afraid of SAVAK. SAVAK was here, and
oh wow, yeah.
yeah, and the secret police of SAVAK was, and then they found out that all these American multinationals were supplying SAVAK with, like instant IDs came from IBM, and it was really Kodak was involved. It was a litany of American multinationals that were doing a lot to keep the Shah in power. And
yeah, because he was cutting deals with them.
Left and right.
Yeah, he was giving them what they wanted, and they were helping him stay in power.
And
then the Ayatollah could sort of shape his revolution as both a nationalist revolution and as a religious revolution.
Yes.
And say that the religious component is going to drive out corrupt Western values, and the nationalist component is going to have Iran for Iranians.
Yes. And
so
it looked good on paper.
It sounds good on paper.
That does, but when they got the Shah to flee, and America, remember the first time you heard the term "the Great Satan"?
Sure, yeah, I was in 8th grade.
Yeah, I was doing a radio show, but it was, but we were to Jim the caller. Remember getting called the Great Satan for the first time? Have we lost Jim?
Yeah, kind of.
Is Jim still there?
Jim, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still there.
Okay, you remember when the first time you heard the Great Satan, and they were talking about you and I?
Yeah, I do remember that. I do remember that.
And so there was all this animosity that had come, and the Soviets had invaded Afghanistan, and boy, everything was going on at once. And now look at the Afghans are now, and the Pakistanis are going at it.
Yeah, it's a destabilized part of the world.
It truly
and I think that the assumption is that if you effect regime change in Iran, you have the capacity to bring a little bit of stability to the region. And I think that the administration has seen that the taking out of Hamas and the taking out of Hezbollah and the taking out of the Bashar Assad regime in Syria has brought sort of a modicum of stability. And they think, well, now the grand prize would be to effect regime change in Iran, and then we'll have a stable Middle East.
Wow. You think it's possible?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't think I'm hopeful, but I think it is at least technically possible. But I don't know.
The claim is now the Grand Ayatollah is dead.
Is that I haven't heard a headline since we came on the air.
Yeah, that we have a news update coming. David's going to stay with us. Jim, thank you very much for calling the show. Folks on the phones, 303-696-1971. Hold on, we'll do a turnaround. We have a news update coming as well and let everybody know. It is a Saturday morning, 28th of February, 2026. Great weather, 70 today, 65 tomorrow, 67 on Monday. The attack has begun and it's ongoing, and the retaliatory strikes now are coming out of Iran back towards Israel and to other nation states, and apparently the fleet has been struck. Just reading all of this on the internet, don't know it to be true. So, ready to go here? All right, we'll do news update and come back with Professor Smith, 303-696-1971. Who started this? Who do you think started this